Hello everyone, welcome again. My name is Ashby. I'm here with Charleston Fossil Adventures, and today I'm going to do a little bit of exploring, and in that we're going to be traveling back in time. And normally I tell my participants on tours that we travel back to a certain time period, a certain geologic epoch. And today that geologic epoch that we are traveling back to is called the Pliocene epoch. And it's a pretty dynamic time. I'm going to talk about that a little bit in this video. And we're looking at about 3 to 5 million years ago. So for those familiar with the timeline of Megalodon, that's right when he was going extinct. So going out today to find the original Goose Creek Limestone formation that many of you may be familiar with if you've come on a trip out on Folly Beach. So going to go ahead and hit the water and head out, see what we can find, see if the formation is uncovered, and see what is out there hiding. Alright, we'll see you on the water. So one more thing I forgot to mention was just showing a sample of the Goose Creek Limestone here. This is what people normally find out on Folly Beach, and you can see that there are some fossil shells in there. This one has a particularly large oyster shell in it, and the unique thing about geology is that different rock formations are going to, or the same rock formation rather, is going to look different in different localities. So the original Goose Creek Limestone may look different than what we're used to seeing out on Folly Beach, and I'm particularly interested in seeing what this section looks like. So now we'll go out and see what we can find. Found a big tooth.
Oh yeah, I did.
All right, I'm in the river now, and we are off. Lots of great scenery out here so far. Got a snowy egret feeding on some fiddler crabs right across the bank there. Lots and lots of fiddler crabs out today, and clear skies. Couldn't ask for much better weather than this. So lots of incredible wildlife out here. Like I was saying, I just saw an alligator go right underneath the water. So I'm going to go over to the other side of the bank. We're going to give him his space, and hopefully he'll give us ours. There he goes, paddling away there. See you later, bud. Check it out, we're coming up upon this old railroad bridge. Really, really cool. Alright, so here's our first exposure that we've come upon. This one looks like the clay unit that is above the Goose Creek Limestone in this section of the river. It's a little bit more of a uniform sand and clay layer than what we're looking for, but gives us a good glimpse of what is to come just around the bend. Pretty cool. That's truly Charleston right there. Absolutely beautiful brick plantation home. Palmetto trees, Spanish moss, and live oaks. If you didn't know any better and you looked out here saw no signs of just what's behind me. You'd think we're out here in the middle of the wilds, maybe Jurassic World even. Pretty incredible stuff. Check it out, we have a little blue heron sitting on the log up there. Looks like he wants to find some fossils too. All right, here we are. So we'll do a quick scan from the kayak, because you never know what's going to be sitting right on the ground right when you land. But so far this looks pretty different than the Goose Creek Limestone we're used to on Folly Beach. Lots of clay, lots of sand. Don't really see that phosphate lag deposit that was described in one of the first early publications of the Goose Creek Limestone. Yeah, just lots of sand here. But you can't complain with this scenery. Check it out. It really is Jurassic Park. We've got tiny dragons hanging out with us on the beach. Go ahead, little buddy. Now, one of the things that bothered me when looking over the publication in first trying to find this site is that it said that the formation, the Goose Creek Limestone, had only about maybe a meter or so about 3 feet exposed above the sea level. Well, we're out here at low tide, and what's exposed here, see, it's pretty clayey. This is no rock formation, and even what looks like some harder rock underneath it can still just be peeled and flaked away. So I don't think we're quite at the Goose Creek Limestone yet. I'm going to poke around here a little more and then see what further down the river holds. Well, after poking around here for about 10 minutes, I think it's safe to say that it's just mud. My feet prove it. We're going to paddle on down the way and see if there's anything else. All we saw was an anole when I first paddled up, and a modern blue crab claw, so not quite the fossils we're looking for just yet. So fossil collecting and fossil finding, hopefully, is a very interesting thing. It often involves a lot of luck. So not 2 minutes after pushing off from the last spot, landed right over here after a quick snack break and saw some pretty interesting rocks here. You can see it's a little chunkier than what we were just at. I came on up here and peeled off a chunk with the paddle, and we'll get a close-up shot here in a minute, but that has fossil shells in it, and it looks like some pretty big scallop shells right up there, and I dare say this is the original type section of the Goose Creek Limestone. And success. Look at all of these fossil shells in there. These are 3 to 5 million year old shells. Already pulled out a really nice little lettered olive or something similar to today's lettered olive. Pretty nice little sample right there. Also got another similar one. You can see he's been exposed for a little bit. So that has a little bit more of the pluff mud on him. Has that very nice spiral shape there. So we're just going to start poking around, seeing if we can find any vertebrate fossils in here. Any fish bones, whale bones, shark teeth, you name it. So I got the kayak tied up, and within seconds already started seeing lots and lots of these pecten scallops. You look right over there, there's a really big stack of them. So you look in the rocks, you can just see more and more and more. You got lines of the shells poking through there. Really large one right there, extending all the way up there. You look up, poking through the roots up there, there's another one. I mean, they truly are all over the place. Let's see. Some type of little concretion right there. Little teeny tiny piece of a scallop right there. The unique thing about the Goose Creek Limestone is it's pretty soft. I mean, you literally can just peel these things off of the rock formation. It's that same limestone nodule right there. There is a lot of pluff mud here. All of this is that very sticky pluff mud. You don't want to really get into much. And something else to consider is that you always have to look up. People at Calvert Cliffs know this. So I'm going to stay away from this section. Actually, just noticed, I might try and get that guy later. That's a really large steinkern of a snail shell up there. That thing looks like it's about 4 inches long. That's pretty remarkable. I've never seen one of that kind that big. So I'm going to instead poke around into these little blocks of the limestone and see if we can't get a couple of nice complete scallops and some vertebrate remains. Alright, so I've been here collecting about maybe 15 minutes so far. Got a pretty cool little pile of Carolina pecten shells, and I'm keeping my eyes out for some of the rarer snails called Ecphora. People up in Calvert Cliffs, Maryland are very familiar with that shell. And also some of the ones called Chesapecten, which are a very beautiful scallop shell. But real quickly, I just wanted to show you what I'm dealing with down here. So you can see it's pretty sandy, pretty crumbly. There's some of the original Goose Creek limestone up there. If you look up there, you can see a really big scallop shell. There's another one right up there. But down in this section, I've kind of found the contact between possibly the Chandler Bridge Formation, a phase of that. I don't quite think we're down to the Ashby Formation, which is that 28 to 30 million year old limestone. But you can kind of see how the shells are forming this ledge right at the base of the Goose Creek Limestone. And you can, this is not very precise. I didn't really bring all of my equipment with me because I didn't know what I was going to find. You can put your hand right under and give it a little tug upward. This is a really big one that's about to come out. Holy cow. Got a little fiddler crab along for the ride. And let's give her a gentle flip right here. Okay, so it's hard to make out much, but this guy right up here is a shell. there's a shell further down here at this end. And one of the things I've discovered is that you don't really want to clean them off much, because this is so sandy that, I mean, the shells just will break and crumble away. This was a nicer Carolina pecten I was trying to get at earlier, and it broke on me. So my pile over here, I've left a lot of them that are complete. I've left the limestone on the back end. So it doesn't look like much right now, but you can see, like right down there, the base of the scallop shell. It sat like that. That is a really big one, and right on top of it is a clam steinkern. So that's the internal cast of the clam shell. Right over here is another clam steinkern. So this whole thing was inside the shell, and the shell dissolved away. So that's a pretty big one right there. Still going to see if I can go get that larger one over near the kayak a little later. We can get some little guys too. There's a little steinkern right there. And I haven't even poked up top yet to see what's on the other side of these that hopefully isn't covered in pluff mud, because right now, if there are any teeth or bones hiding in here, it's a little hard to see without pulling that pluff mud off, and you might damage something in the process. So let's see what else is out there. Check it out, guys. For those of you on the live video on Facebook, you saw the live discovery of this one, but that is a massive Chesapecten shell. He is lodged underneath this chunk. Trying not to drop that one on it. Okay. Oh, that is absolutely gorgeous. And he has barnacles growing on them when it was alive. That's a beautiful piece. I was just down here enjoying lunch. If you look right up there, got a bald eagle joining me for lunch. All kinds of wildlife out here today. So a little bit more about the Goose Creek Limestone and why this is such a unique formation here in Charleston. In 1860, Holmes actually described the section of rock that is pretty widespread now as a limestone, and with the various shells and mollusks that we can find in it. And it wasn't until 1908 that Sloan actually called it the, quote, Goose Creek phase, and described the type section up in Goose Creek, South Carolina. So basically what that means is he found this particular outcrop that we visited today and described to science and said, hey, this place right here with these coordinates on this river is going to be the formal location of the Goose Creek phase of this limestone unit that's pretty widespread. So in 1982, Weems et al. Actually really formalized it and took it from this kind of ambiguous phase to a more definite formation. And so they called the Goose Creek phase the Goose Creek Limestone. And it generally is estimated to be about 3 to 5 million years old, based on things like nanoplankton and the other macrofossils that can be found in it, like all the clams and snails that we saw today. And so, like I said, this is a very widespread unit. This Goose Creek Limestone ranges from northeastern Georgia all the way through eastern South Carolina and up into southeastern North Carolina. Right here in Charleston, the unit is about 3 meters thick, but it can be as much as 8.5 meters thick here in Charleston. It's even thicker in Georgia and North Carolina in different parts. Now, it's a kind of unique formation. It's pretty widespread here in the low country, but it is patchy in its distribution. So what we were really seeing is a lot of different changes happening at the beginning of the Pliocene epoch. So what's the significance of a Pliocene limestone, you might ask? Our Pliocene oceans here in North America were the last oceans to house the world's largest shark, Megalodon. And so we saw the extinction of Megalodon during the Pliocene around 3.6 million years ago. And it also saw the rise of the great white sharks. So we had the unserrated form Carcharodon histalis, previously known as a mako shark, but it is now accepted as a great white, the precursor to the modern great white, which is Carcharodon carcharias. So within this limestone unit, we can actually get all three of those animals found in here. The Pliocene was one of the last warm times. So at the onset of the Pleistocene epoch, we had our ice ages, and so the ocean, which would have been covering where we are right here today, was 50 miles further out during the ice age. And so this is kind of our last marine deposit before whenever the ocean comes back in this far. The other unique thing about this deposit is this is a 3 to 5 million year old deposit. In some areas, like here in Charleston, it is over a much older unit that is about 28 to 30 million years old. That's the Ashby Formation. It can also be over Eocene material, about 33 to 56 million years old. And then in some places it's even over Cretaceous material, like up in North Carolina. So 65 million plus when the dinosaurs were roaming around. So it represents kind of a really turbulent time where it concentrated a lot of material and pulled it out. And so we do get some older fossils that are reworked into this much younger layer. And usually whenever you see that, it's called a lag deposit. And so you'll often get a lot of rounded clasts like phosphate nodules, sometimes some quartz discoids, and so it really is a unique formation in how we can see all of this stuff happening within the geologic layers. Looks like I found a fossil from the Eocene epoch right here. Might just be trash, but we shouldn't leave it in the marsh. Besides, this guy might be helpful for us. I might use it to get some of the stuff out of here. Found at the site. So we'll take it along with us. There we go. Alright guys, well, as you can tell by the suburban noise around me, I am back and pretty pleased with the total haul here. I'm going to show you some of the ones already cleaned up, and then just show you real quick how I've been cleaning these. This is just going to be a preliminary, get most of the dirt off cleaning before I really take them to the dental tools and start scraping away. So let's see, we'll start with this little pecten right here. You can see a lot of that is just algae that's right on the surface. So with a quick rinse, these things are really remarkable looking. Some of the best complete ones that I've seen, as would be expected if you go to the type locality or the strata type. So still a bit of the original limestone on the back there, but they're cleaning up nicely. So there's that one. Do a quick rinse on some of these others. That one's going to take a little more scrubbing there, but you can see you had some nice hitchhikers on the side. Really uniquely shaped one. We've been seeing this one in fragments on Folly Beach, but we've never really seen the full one, so that's why I grabbed that one. Let's see this sandy guy. Ooh, I'm really happy about this one. So, check that out. Looks like we have a little sand dollar that was hitching along on that one as well. Maybe another one right there. But that one for sure is one of the little sand dollars. Oh, that is a cool find. Ah, really nice. Okay, so we'll do some more on him. Just real briefly, another nice pecten scallop there. This one is going to be the other hinge from those scallops. So you have a more domed hinge, and then you have a much flatter and concave hinge. So that's nice. All right. Okay, so coming along there, another really nice one. Medium-sized guy there. And then this super cute little tiny one. That's a beauty. Also, said I wanted to get a bone. Managed to find one bone fragment out there. Really worn down. It came from that lag deposit. But here is that Chesapeakton cleaned up a little more. Really beautiful find there. Has his little barnacle hitchhikers on the top. This one, which was just poking a little bit out, is going to take a lot of prep work to get the rest of this limestone off, but a really nice big variety here. Not too sure on the genus of this one, but we'll look into that and hopefully can put it in the video. Just a good representation of the Goose Creek Limestone with that oyster in there and a couple of scallops. And then another one over here, another particularly nice scallop. I wanted to share a story about this one, this large Chesapeake. Now that I'm back, after I pulled it out of the pile of rocks at the wall, down at the bottom of the wall, I dropped it walking back to the kayak, and it went face first down into a crevice, and my heart sank because I knew that the top of that was going to be snapped off. Well, I pulled it out just like this, and fortunately it is all still there, so just makes that piece a little more special with that story. Alright, so thanks so much for watching, guys. It's been a lot of fun kind of highlighting the Goose Creek Limestone, a unit that doesn't really get too much attention around here, but just wanted to close and say thanks for watching. I think this one right here is probably going to be my favorite, with that little sand dollar sitting right on top of it, because that was something I didn't know was there until we got back. So thanks so much, and if you liked the video, put a comment down in the bottom, and I can look at doing some more of these, because this was a lot of fun for me to make, guys. Alright, have a good one.